Hey parents and Switch leaders, I'm Craig Rochelle, and your Switch pastors asked me to talk to you about some really important questions that may come up when you're helping guide your teenagers around some important subjects like dating, relationships, sexual questions, and such. And so over the next few weeks, I'm going to answer some questions and just give you some thoughts that may help you better minister to and prepare your students for what they're going to face. The first week at Switch, we're going to be talking to your students about helping them understand what to consider all around the subject of dating. And there are three big questions that I've been asked to talk to you about. The first one is, what is my opinion on teen dating? Should they even date? And at what age is it appropriate? Let me just first start by saying I've got some pretty extreme views, and that's without apology, because what's happening in the world today, what's considered normal, is laying a foundation that is really hard to build healthy relationships on top of. What's normal is not working. And so in culture today, it's not uncommon for parents to encourage their kindergarten kid and say, "Oh, isn't it cute? He's got a girlfriend." And in my opinion, that's absolutely and completely ridiculous. When we're talking what age is it appropriate to date, I'm assuming some of you might have a 13-year-old, some of you might have an 18-year-old. There's tons of differences in maturity level. Again, I honestly believe all junior high relationships should be very, very, very protected with high parental involvement. I personally wouldn't encourage dating in junior high. I personally, honestly, wouldn't encourage it in a freshman year or sophomore year of high school. I'd be very involved in a junior or senior year. I think the key is, since I can't give you specifics on how you'll raise your kids or talk to your Switch students, is that you need to be involved relationally with your kids. There's so much that goes on that parents don't know about. Most parents think, hey, I really know what's going on in my kids' lives. And the reality is that's just often not true. We have to be engaged in dialogue with them. And as we go through some of these questions, I might want to redefine how we think of dating, what it could look like, what it should look like. I would just say, I'm not going to put an age group and say, when they're 16, they can date. I think there are some 16-year-olds that may be able to develop very healthy opposite sex relationships. There are some 18-year-olds that still have a lot of development to do before they're really prepared to do it. So I'm not going to put a hard age limit on it at this point. Number two, what are some top things to consider when choosing who to date? What is it appropriate to compromise on, and what can you not compromise on? Again, I might redefine what does it mean to date. I'm going to encourage the kids to do stuff in groups. Let's just learn how to be friends first. Friends with the opposite sex, and develop healthy relationships. Friends with the same sex is actually really important as well. If we can't work through hard times if I can't with my guy friends, then I'm going to have a hard time with my wife later on. So just developing relational skills is really, really important. If they are going to develop romantic relationships, number one, we need to help coach them that they're still emotionally developing. And so what may feel like real love is still a teenager who's developing relationally and emotionally. What are we not going to compromise on? All day long, I'm not going to compromise on dating a non-Christian. I want them to be around someone who is spiritually putting God first. But again, my kids, my oldest daughter at 17, 18 hadn't dated a boy. They're not kissing. And that's honestly, just by years of helping them to see that their top priority is not romance in junior high or high school, but their top priority is serving and pleasing God. So let's be careful what we call dating. We might help redefine that and help them see developing relationships, friendships is more important than romantic involvement before they're mature enough to handle it. What should healthy and appropriate teen dating relationships look like? Okay, let's say you're going to let your 16-year-old date or whatever. That's your decision. If they're going to do it, I would really, really encourage them to spend time in groups. You put them alone and things are going to likely happen. Temptations are greater when they're alone. I like to see them in groups. I like to see them in especially groups of the right friends. You hang around the wrong friends, they're going to end up doing the wrong things. I like to see them in groups of the right friends. I'd like to see them really involved with your family. If your daughter's dating a guy, I'd like to see that guy at your house more than having her out in a car. I don't want my 16-year-old daughter going out with some 18-year-old guy alone in a car. That's just me. I want to see them close to my home, in my family. I want to be involved in helping shape the relationship. Now, that's not going to happen if I haven't been involved with them for the last 5 years. If I just try to insert myself, they're probably going to say, get out of here, who are you, why are you doing this? And so the key is to start early, to have open communication, and to look to them, have them look to you as a part of the guidance. I'm blessed that my oldest two daughters, at this point they're 17 and now 19, come to me, ask for my blessings, ask for my advice, ask for my involvement. And that's what we want. We want to be in a place where we can coach them. And so ultimately, we need to be really relationally engaged. Just because everybody else is doing it one way, don't just say we have to conform to the patterns of this world. We're going to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Then we can do what God calls us to do. So don't settle for what everyone else is doing. You be the parent. You be the student leaders. Don't be afraid to challenge into something different and something better to get a better result.